you trying to bait me here?
It's so small, you must have missed it.
Thank you for joining us for the 39th episode of We Burn, We Rise. Today I'm joined by Fluffy, and we're happy to have you with us as we showcase some of the awesome things that Fluffy and company have been working on in the background. There's been a lot of updates on the decks. There's a chart that he's been working on as well, and a bot, if you've seen, in our main chat. So take it away, Fluffy.
Yeah. That's kind of just asking a whole lot all at once. Should we start with something simple, I guess? All right. So here we've got our chart. I'm just tracking this from ZegX. I'm going to eventually throw this on our bot so we have more definition. But I'm waiting also until we have a kind of more of our token details too, so that way people can see the charts in the Telegram for tokens. Let's go into FireSwap. So you'll notice there's been a lot of improvements on FireSwap. Now things work. So now you see there's more token logos. Let's say Elmo. There we go. But also too, we have a working market history that's showing here. See, there's token logos. You can see the recent market history for everything that has logos. And now they're showing up in here as well. I'll be adding more features to this probably here in the near future whenever I finish the next thing that I've been working on, which is Firestools. So on Firestools, we basically took the old broken code from Fire Tools and we're making it work. So right now, if like say I want to go to NFTplayerPro too, we forgot to talk about that, but that's fine. So on Firestools so far, the only thing I've got up and going right now would be, say, if I want to see YTX, there's YTX, the actual search bar works now. No, I said YTX.
That's interesting because I just went on FireSwap and mine seems to be bright. I don't know if yours was just not loading correctly or something.
On what? FireSwap?
Yeah, my FireSwap looks fine.
Yeah.
Maybe yours was just stuck.
You know, it could just be that I have mine.
Yeah, that's the right one.
Why.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So anyways, dark mode. We're going to have to do something about that light mode. But yeah, it's a lot better in dark mode anyways. And I'll probably populate this with some additional info, like an IPA once I can get if price above going. And then I'm not sure if interval is supposed to show something, but I don't like that blank spot. So we'll probably switch that out with something else. And I'll have to worry now that I'm getting transaction history working, because we made an API for that last night that fetches info for it. Basically just took a bunch of the APIs from PhoenixPhire and all to get something that looks like this. So now it actually has relevant transaction info. So I can see which token it is, the token decimal. I can see who it came from, where it went, or who it went to. Probably going to build a few more APIs too. That way it simplifies a lot of things for developers. Then I'll just make an entire list of them. Like an NFT API to sort like 1155s from 721s and the whole works. It's just this Firestools has been very time consuming. But say Elmo. For instance, there we go. There's Omo. See all the transaction history on it. It's big numbers. But yeah, this will get better. It's just I've been working on it. Buttons now work. They take you to the correct place. So let's see. We got Elmo contract. I can see the contract. And say I want to see the Elmo holders. There's all of the holders. It's a lot of holders. Say if we want to trade it, obviously it'll take us here. We got a link tree that works, but I think the link tree worked too. I just made some updates to it. So now we can go to like NFTplayerPro and say we want to connect our wallet. And bam, there's NFTplayerPro. I wonder where our playlist is. Like, I stayed up all night just getting this to work. Actually, pretty much almost all day yesterday.
Jeez.
I can replace the tokens as well with a dollar symbol once I can get an actual dollar evaluation. But that math gets super tricky once you get into, if it was just buys and sells, yeah, no problem. But then you start getting into the liquidity pools and the math gets funny. And yeah.
Anything beyond addition and subtraction is hard, right?
Maybe for some. I mean, I think of myself as pretty good at math. I'm just lazy. But yeah, like if I break down the math for you, I think even Martin would be like, "Oh no, screw this, I'm out." And then not only that, all of your there's different variations that can determine what your outcome is going to be, and you always have variables that are constantly changing. Like if I go add another LP to another token, now the price changed again. It's kind of a weird thing too. Like even I noticed Dex Tools doesn't actually, now that I know how the math kind of works, Dex Tools doesn't actually show you like the full true math either. They don't actually get the total price right, because if you go create another liquidity pool with a token or add to it, it doesn't reflect on Dex Tools. You have to wait for somebody to make another buy or sell for it to happen. So that's kind of where I'm going to probably end up going as well with this, because it's a lot easier to calculate than let the program handle the math versus trying to do it myself.
But here's the thing.
How does that?
If the gas is so low on Phoenix, can't you just run a 0.000001 forced transaction when you add a new LP?
Well, it's not just that, because like if I take Phoenix, say 20 Phoenix, and I pair it with Elmo and I add to that liquidity pool, that doesn't reflect in Dex Tools, and it does that for a reason, because it kind of breaks the math. You have to wait for a buy and sell to calculate the new variables.
That's what I'm saying. Can't you do a forced transaction, like a forced buy or sell, with a lot of decimals?
You could, or you can just wait for another one to reflect the price. Wait for somebody else to do it. I mean, I'm not going to sit around and manually.
No, not manually. I'm talking
pay
about
attention
can't you code it? Can't you code it so that, or attempt to code it so that when it's added, it runs one transaction right away?
It could. I could, but there's a lot that would have to go into that, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, just spitballing.
Time versus reward. That time that I'd have to dedicate is not worth that little tiny bit of reward.
Yeah.
How's it going, Wes? I got
Good,
the
man.
315 here. Oh, I've had better sleep, better days.
What are you working on here? What is this?
Oh, it's going to be fire stools. It's going to be kind of our version of Dex tools. It's going to track our tokens from Fire Swap.
Okay.
So people actually have a way to see how much things are worth and everything else. Because currently, I don't think we have any way to track the price on it unless we just try to buy something.
Have you guys looked at getting on the Dex Screener?
Yep,
Nope.
they want 100K in transactions for us to be on there.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Everybody
Dex,
wants
there's-
those transactions, eh? Fucking Jesus.
Right. So they just want us to frickin' do wash trades to make it. Like,
Speaking of that, I even made a bot for that too. I just have to play with that a bit. But the
You guys
It
should
does
start... I don't know how we go about doing this, but we should get some IVNs going on Phoenix, and you guys can hook up some actions and chats and shit to it, so that all the actions that happen on the IVN can drive volume.
yeah.
Because just the other day, I got something called sub IVNs working. So basically, what a sub IVN is, it's like the IVN. It has its own token and it does buybacks and all that, just like we showed. But this also sends money back to the Fate IVN. So basically, what ends up happening is you could have 5 or 6 different NFT projects all on our platform, and all of those projects would be contributing to buybacks on the main Fate chart as well as their own. So it really helps drive volume through just people engaging and interacting through the various tools and services in your ecosystem effectively.
I'm guessing IVN does not mean intravenous narcotics. Can you educate?
Oh, I'm sorry. It stands for intrinsically valued non-fungible token. It's a new it's a completely new take on NFTs.
Ah,
So each NFT is now backed by a value that intrinsically grows, and you can always redeem it at any point for that value. And then there's all these actions that are associated with the IVNs. Actions can be messages, it can be posting pictures, it could be anything that you do online, sharing something. All the things we typically do even within our own projects, within Telegram, all that stuff. We can turn into actions and have those things affect the chart, like actually become volume on the chart.
so you take out the P2P aspect and have it tradable at any time?
Well, it's always redeemable. It's separate from a token, right? So we've got our own token as well, but the token obviously has a lot of volatility to it. So the IVN is kind of shielded from that. That's what we call it, Fate Shield. Because basically the value, all the value that you're gaining intrinsically on your IVNs, that only ever goes up. It doesn't go down. I can send you some information specifically. I was more trying to point out that we're looking to test these things, and it would be a good way to get volume moving, potentially on your chain.
yeah, I'm up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I don't know if it'll
we're
get
still,
to 100K. I don't know. That's up to you guys and how many actions you guys do. But
Yeah, it's
we're
go ahead.
I was just gonna say we're still waiting on Aura, our NFT marketplace, to come out with the Phoenix side of NFTs. So it would be like an in-house kind of thing with the community.
Well, you can still trade NFTs on Zagex.
Zagex, yeah.
All right. I said
this
right
still
this
is
time.
effectively an NFT, so it can be listed and sold on a typical NFT marketplace as well.
Yep, and Zagex currently has our NFTs on there as well. Let's see. Did you guys see? So like NFTs, these are all Phoenix. That's all they have is the Phoenix marketplace. So
I've got like he sent me a few Phoenix. I've got Phoenix drops, price ducks, fire ducks, and Phoenix cats are the four that I.
Actually, it's pretty nice on here. Carl did a fantastic job.
Yeah, he did. That looks really sharp.
Free music NFTs too. Let's see, where was it? NFTplayerPro, NFTplayerPro. So I made this. It's it'll connect to your wallet, and you can build playlists, but you can claim 2 free NFT songs that are on it. I don't know why my internet's so slow today. Anyways, you can actually play them.
The reason why those are so slow is because
No, it loads fast. It's just my internet's been really laggy upstairs. Downstairs, no problem.
oh no, but they're still loading a lot more than they probably should, right? Like the if you don't use streaming.
Well, I use premium IPFS for all the songs that I deploy, so I get
Right, but that's playing. But that's the way that's loading through the media player is called progressives. Is what I mean. What that means is that when you play the video, like you can't seek in the timeline, for example, unless the whole video is loaded. Right?
Oh yeah, I can because it's using a React player.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on this code.
Cool.
But yeah, I've still got other improvements too because the next thing I've made is a NFT album. So basically, here instead of just being one song, you could actually go through and select the song you want to play, and it's stored on the NFT. The only place you'd ever be able to use it though would be here, obviously, though, on NFTplayerPro.
Yeah, it's interesting because we're doing some similar stuff on our site too. That's all kinds of calls to
And whenever I get that done, in fact, actually, I've got an artist from Puerto Rico. He's giving me access to his songs. I mean, obviously, he wants a royalty anytime something trades, but whenever I finish these charts, I can start working on my new NFT type that I've developed. NFT album, I should say. And then maybe I'll start working on a music factory. It's still in the planning stages, but I want to make a place for musicians to be able to go and basically create, their own album without having any coding experience. They just upload their songs to their album and click deploy, and then they can even pick a couple template simple choices and click deploy, and it'll deploy a simple DApp for them. So people can go through and download their album, and then they can go to NFTplayerPro and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've got. I can't really say too much, but we're actually working with the Grammy Award winner on something similar, like it's with NFTs and music, or IBM specifically in music. But there might be some ways we can help each other out.
What's that?
So
I said there might be some ways we can help each other out.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Phoenix at the Grammys.
He won the Grammy in 2006, so it's been a while, but it's still a Grammy.
Is that like peaking in high school? I want the Grammys in 1946.
So with your DEX trade or your charting that you're trying to do, I'm kind of curious about this too.
Oh, this
So
is
you're gonna have a trading view graph there as well.
Yeah, there'll be a graph here or a chart here.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just getting calculations for it actually to incorporate things like the liquidity pool and then buys and sells. Currently, the APIs that our Explorer provides don't really show buys and sells. So even with like transaction info, the APIs that we kind of had, like our stock APIs that our Explorer provides, are very limited. Like the APIs for, say, token transactions, typically we just show like a to and from address, like from and to, but it wouldn't show what the token was, like the name or the decimal. So we're having to build a lot of the APIs that we want customized just so we can use it a little better.
Right.
And it's kind of taking like 3 or 4 APIs and telling it what order to use and throwing it all together so it has a functioning, usable API that we could actually use for developing stuff.
So this is connected directly to your guys' back end as far as like similar to a BSC scan kind of a deal. Is that fair to say?
Oh, for PhoenixPhire, yeah.
But the API that you're accessing, is that pulling data from the chain?
It's using the APIs that are currently coming from our chain.
Right.
So like these are kind of like the little stock APIs that our Explorer provides, which are very limited and basic. It doesn't really give you like what you need. And a lot of them require either transaction hashes, etc. So I kind of like for the APIs for this one, I had to take one that would gather the token information along with hash that it would provide, and then take that hash address and use it to get the actual transaction APIs using that hash, all to make one coherent API.
Right. Make one
that
call.
can fetch it. Yeah. Another thing I've got to work on too is the speed, because it loads slow. But
I can tell you why. Actually, it's because you're loading it from the Explorer like that. What you're going to want to do if you really want it to be fast is you're going to want to capture all the data that you're pulling from that API. You're going to want to capture that into a database of some sort.
Well,
so you can speed up.
It's not where it's coming from. The person who deployed it has very slow bandwidth as well. So
that doesn't help.
Yeah, it's a very, very slow. It's very limited. They're very limited on internet access. So I'm probably going to take it and move it over to probably like GitHub and then deploy it on Vercel, and then build an entire list because. Let's see, where did it go? Like
I don't know if it helps you not, but the way that I set it up on our side is because I've got a bot that basically goes and tracks everything, and it's constantly updating a database so that I can load it quickly with the website. So it's doing the same thing that you're doing, only I'm using the JavaScript bot in the background, almost like a background process, to kind of keep up with things and keep updating a database. So that's always loading the data from a database. It's always fast because you can cache that.
Oh, that would be cool. How is it on storage, though? Does it eat up a ton?
It can. It's all about how many tokens you're trying to track. Like for me, we went from tracking 9 to 10 up to 23, and I haven't noticed any major performance increases as a consequence. So.
Yeah, I think currently we've only got 50 or 60 tokens on Phoenix. Let's see. Oh, now there's 50. There's 100. 150, 200. And then we get to 223 if you add in the LPs.
Those LP contracts, yeah. Just a suggestion, because you want to, like, especially if you're trying to worry about load speed, like you'll find with the blockchain stuff, like the blockchain is slow. Whether you're dealing with files on the IPFS or whether you're dealing with the smart contracts themselves, compared to a database, it's really slow. So I like to put something in front of the blockchain so that you, like, whether it's a bot or whether it's a cron job or what have you, just to kind of pull in the data that you want and keep that updated so that you can always access that data fast. That's really what it's about, right?
Yep. Well, I thought about doing that with the chart, something similar. That way it has kind of a little backbone to rest on just in case.
And the other thing you were talking, I heard you say something about not getting liquidity events. If you listen with the JavaScript bots, at least, you can listen for emitted events. So you can actually listen for buys, sells, transfers, liquidity adds, or removes.
Yeah, I can also make an API for it too.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So you set a bot that listens for those events, so you can distinguish what's what, and then you make your updates according to what those events are.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
There's a lot to it, dude. I've been fucking around
2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah,
since I kind of took over all the development, and I'm having to go through and fix a lot of everything. So
there's a lot to it.
I'll eventually get there.
Myself, honestly, there's so much I don't know. So I'm curious as to what, because you guys have your own chain, so you're connected directly to your back end, and through your Explorer API. You know, typically, if I want to connect to BSC Scan, for example, you know, you have to pay for the API access if you want to make any kind of significant amount of calls to it with any kind of reliability.
Yeah.
So I've found a lot of workarounds and a lot of ways to get around that. So right now, we don't pay for any APIs. I'm getting data from a bunch of different places, but I'm not paying for any APIs because I'm using a bot, right? And I'm hitting these contracts directly rather than relying on some API to feed me the data. Effectively, I'm making my own data rather than pulling from the BSC Scan.
Yeah, that's been another issue with when it came to building charts, because I think you could use Coin Paprika's API, but it only feeds you like the last 24 hours. Yeah, which isn't really going to help out with charts. So ZegX, I've been able to get unlimited transaction history through them, but then it doesn't really account for other things like Dex Trade. But yeah, that's fine because right now ZegX is our main centralized exchange that we use anyways. So I care more about the prices that come from there than I do from Dex Trade, which has the low volume, or it's just a bot doing wash trades, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, there's the weird thing with all these DEXs is they all kind of fuck up on the data. Like the prices aren't right, the liquidity's not right. Usually, I find, like, oddly enough, PooCoin is the only site that actually shows you what the liquidity actually is. If you look at the liquidity pool everywhere else, it's always double what it should be. Always.
Yes.
Don't know why.
Yes, I'm constantly looking at. There's a couple that I follow on BSC Network, and Dex Tools always doubles, and then you look at PooCoin, and that's the correct one. You're like, but why? And then they'll do bots off of DEX tools to trick the community to make it look like there's a lot more liquidity in there. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know why that is. Every other, it's a DEX screener, DEX tools, DEX guru. There's a whole swath of them, and they all double the liquidity. Every single one of them.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And in fact, even making the fire stools, it's like even now you can see double to triple the same transactions, like 1,000, 1,000. So I thought of a way to solve that, but I'm waiting to get back into my code. As soon as I finish here, I figured out a way to sort it, and that's using the actual block number, which you can see here.
Yeah.
To actually sort it so it's not showing duplicate transactions, which that would be the same thing with the liquidity pool information. So when we click liquidity info, we don't have duplicates on there showing double the actual liquidity. It'll show the exact liquidity that's in place.
Yeah, I don't think that they're doubling the liquidity from the transactions. They're looking at the liquidity of the token itself, or the liquidity pools, and then whatever number that is, they double it. But
yeah, I don't think they're doing it intentionally. It's because even on the back end of what I'm building, it's it does the same thing, and because it's not being sorted, it's not the way it happens is like they see the transaction, they count that as one, then the transaction goes through, it sees that as another. So there's ways of sorting it and filtering it.
I don't know how they wouldn't know that. Like it's. Like literally, it's double the liquidity. That's pretty apparent to anybody that's looking at it, that digs into it. So I don't know how they wouldn't know that. But from a sorting perspective, like if you get this into a database, then sorting becomes easy. Sorting and removing duplicates and things like that becomes child's play. Right? Like, but when you're trying to pull the data from the blockchain, it's not. It's not efficient. It's it works. Yes, it's immutable, great, but it's not as efficient as it could be. And I'm not sure the exact reasons as to why that is, because I don't know from the back end how a lot of these blockchains work. I'm just interacting with the contracts, but.
Oh, speaking of, anybody see the new update on MetaMask?
With the NFTs?
Yeah. That's pretty fantastic. I've been waiting for that to happen on PC.
Can someone elaborate? I'm not super familiar with that.
Well, for the longest time, their plugin didn't support NFTs. If you wanted NFTs, you had to use their mobile app. So they finally added support for NFTs in the plugin.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's still limited capabilities. I wish they'd spend more time in the development features of that because depending on the ERC protocol that you're using, it may or may not show up. And then same thing there. Like if I have an NFT that's a game or an NFT that's a media type, it doesn't really play unless it's like just a standard GIF.
Yeah.
How does MetaMask make any money?
That's a good question. They probably just rug people. The same way everybody makes money in crypto. You're either rich from rugging or you're poor from constantly sinking your own money into it. I'm in
I think Infura, which is the company that runs MetaMask, they make money off of the API requests and the API access, mostly, I think.
That's a few rungs above what I understand, but I will take your word for it.
Well, they have data APIs so that you can connect to the network and effectively get all the data that you guys are getting about the Phoenix blockchain, for example. And they charge for access to that past a certain volume, just like everybody else. So if you're trying to keep price on something or trying to keep track of something, you've got like an X amount of calls per month that you're able to make before you have to start paying for it.
I've never actually seen them. I've never seen anything on here where they actually charge for it, though.
No, you want to go to Infura, not MetaMask.
That's why. Yeah, Infura does charge. Alchemy does too, but we get around those by using our RPC. That's why we don't have to use them in our dApps, because our RPC automatically fetches it. Technically, you could probably use the RPC from BSC or Ethereum as well to use
That's how
the
the
query.
bot, that's how the bot works. The bot just connects to the RPC and that can go do anything. And the great thing about the bot is that it can bounce between networks. So you don't need like necessarily a smart contract on every single network. You can just have the bot bouncing in and out of different networks, interacting with whatever contracts it needs to. Pairs, tokens, doesn't matter the contract, right?
Yeah. Provided it's on an EVM, though, because if it's not an EVM,
It has to be EVM, it has to be EVM for it to work at all.
I mean, it could probably be reworked for Solana or any other.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they have like frameworks for Solana or for other type blockchains for sure. I'm only familiar with the EVM stuff right now.
Yeah,
there's so much to know as far as stuff's pretty extensive, man. Like even the stuff you're doing right here, like I don't even know where I would start to get that kind of information.
Well, I do plan on, once I build out everything that has had issues working or not getting completed from other developers, once that's all 100%, which I don't really want to give a timeline on the Firestools, but everything else, it's already pretty close to completion anyways. But whenever that's done, I'm going to finish building out a whole API library and then open source it for anybody to use at any time.
Right.
I think that'd definitely help our chain grow too, because that's part of the problem right now is nobody can really use the APIs unless they build them out themselves. But if they're already built and in place, then it makes developing really easy.
I mean, it's like Steve Ballmer said, man, developers.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know, Apple, Google, the reason they're as big as they are, especially like Android and iOS, is apps, man. They got people building.
Non-stop.
Yeah, and they don't have to do nothing. They just kick back and make that 30%.
Yep.
swarms of people developing.
Yeah, I remember when we used to have many developers. Back before I couldn't.
What do you mean, head developer Fluffy? What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm still keeping my janitor job title, so. Yeah. I've run out of things to talk about, people. Oh, I am going to Consensus. That's going to be fun next week. With my.
Did you get the package?
I got the VIP package.
No. Did you get my package?
Oh. Are you trying to bait me here?
It's so small, you must have missed it.
Oh my god.
So
I think that's your cold open. There you go.
No, I don't think so.
$2,300. Wow. So this is the pass I got from a good friend. $2,300.
Damn.
Oh, if I could sell that on eBay.
No, you have to go.
Oh yeah.
Can't sell a gift. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you all again next week for episode 40 of our weekly broadcast. Wishing every member of the family a fantastic week, and we'll see you in chat. will be happy. God dang it! Okay.
Out of touch.
I don't have a script.
Are we going to do a Q&A at all?
This whole thing's been just a